that we are well into the collapse. We are at the point of the collapse, or the point of the story, the rising action, I believe they call it in Shakespearean literature. The point in which things are about to go parabolic. Why is this happening? Well, there was some big news that came out today that was completely missed by mainstream media, and we're going to talk about it. So, let's talk about what has transpired today. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff, but we're going to save Lake Mead for later. That's a problem in the works. It's going to affect millions of people. But we need to talk about the big news of today, which is Germany's alarm phase of gas supply. So right now they're in stage 2, the alarm phase. So Russia, if you didn't know, has limited the supply of gas to Europe to about 60% of what it was. And what's more is that now they've completely shut off Nord Stream for 10 days for annual routine maintenance. Now there is a fear in Germany that they simply may not turn this gas pipeline back on.
Nigeria, but happening in the UK. Former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, alongside his wife, have both been remanded in custody in the United Kingdom, charged with conspiracy to arrange or facilitate travel of another person with a view to exploitation, namely organ harvesting. Organ harvesting involves removing parts of the body, often for cash, and against the victim's will. According to the Metropolitan Police, an investigation was launched after detectives were alerted to potential offences under modern slavery legislation in May 2022.
It's getting more sinister in my humble opinion.
A debate is heating up over whether or not Texas children should be allowed in drag events. It comes after Dallas bar Mr. Mister promoted their Saturday afternoon event as a family-friendly version of their shows and appropriate for kids of all ages. Children were invited to walk down the walkway and dance on stage with performers. The organizers said it was meant to promote inclusion and fun.
This is so crazy. It's hard not to think. I don't know what to think of this. What are we watching?
Yeah, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when drag queen story hours were the things that we were outraged at, because that's so clearly inappropriate. In this case, you've got a neon pink sign as a backdrop declaring it's not going to lick itself as adult drag performers are dancing and lip syncing and even collecting dollar bills from young kids as their parents were sipping on their drinks, having a good time.
A bookstore owner in Port Richey who has hosted drag queen story hours says it's legislating hatred.
Absolutely insane video. Back to you, Tucker.
Yeah, just don't get kids involved, obviously.
That's kind of on the lighter side. On the darker side, this story from North Carolina, where a preschool, James, uses these flashcards, so these things you kind of hold up like this. There we go.
Yep.
And they feature a pregnant man as a way of teaching little children about LGB blah, 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 James.
Well, I mean, if they've got the iPhone, they've already got the pregnant man emoji with that. But yeah, again, this is, the revolution does not sleep, it does not quit, and they will find every single avenue in to undermine anything that smacks of a traditional way of looking at the world. Traditional thing that's like,
culture
women
wars,
can't,
stop
women
fighting
can't,
the culture
men can't
wars,
get pregnant.
James.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pushing this insanity isn't a culture war, but saying, wait a second, this isn't a good
That's
idea.
a culture war.
That's a culture war.
Yeah.
But this isn't even primary school. So we've seen it in high school, we've seen it in primary school. This is preschool. So these are children being taught colours. So these flashcards were actually used to teach toddlers and very young kids about different colours, and the images they used included a pregnant man. I mean, really, it's you can't laugh at this stuff, because this is it's an agenda and it's being pursued relentlessly.
It is an agenda, and it keeps getting darker. Now let's talk quickly about the US Marines Pride bullets.
No. Oh, look at that.
James.
Well, I mean, this is just absolutely amazing to me, because what they've done is they've basically appropriated the Full Metal Jacket recruiting, movie poster from that Kubrick Vietnam War film, anti-war film, to promote the U.S. Marines and Pride Month.
The Washington Post The newspaper of record in the capital city of the land of the free, let's just remember that, has suspended one of its journalists for 1 month without pay just for retweeting a Twitter post which said something to the effect of, all women are bi, you just have to figure out whether it's polar or sexual. That's not funny. That's not funny if anyone was watching. But David Weigel landed in hot water after his colleague drew attention to the fact that he had retweeted, not tweeted, just retweeted this joke from YouTuber Cam Harless. And keep in mind, you can flash your junk on the ABC and nothing happens, but you retweet a YouTuber at the Washington Post and you're gone for a month.
Is going to be India, believe it or not. He says that, what does he say exactly? Ray Dalio is a billionaire who runs a big hedge fund. He says the BRICS summit, if you didn't know, it's a summit between China, India, Russia, and a few other members of the axis of evil, as we might call them. But he says this whole thing is reminiscent of the years 1938 to 1939, when the world was on the verge of World War II. And this is Ray Dalio. He's a very respected in the financial community, not only from the alternative media talking heads, but also the Wall Street tycoons. He says that the world was on the verge of World War II. Two world powers were facing each other and are supported by different allies. How India behaves will be decisive. The country that could stand by Russia's economy if the West completely boycotts Moscow. If India stands by Russia, they can just say, hey guys, you know what? I don't think we need to rely on your gas revenues anymore at all. So we're just going to turn off the tap. Europe is going to go into a depression which could make the Great Depression look like a cakewalk. Because now you have way more people relying on a lot more gas to run their society. Energy is everything. Without energy, you just have the city is just a massive, giant paperweight, an immobile piece of metal. We need energy. And if Europe cannot get its energy, which it needs from Russia, it is screwed. So you need to start preparing now. Hopefully, calmer heads will prevail.
The motion is agreed to.
Overnight, the Senate took its first steps towards passing major gun-related legislation in an attempt to address recent mass shootings in New York, Texas, and California. The bill is a bipartisan deal that would expand gun background checks for people under 21, allowing up to 10 business days to review juvenile and mental health records. It provides federal money for states enacting new red flag laws designed to temporarily seize guns from people deemed dangerous. And it closes the so-called boyfriend loophole, preventing partners convicted of domestic abuse who live outside a victim's home from buying a gun.
We have a chance to break this 30-year period of silence.